Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I got title of this is experts say kids raised in the 60s and 70s learned a form of resilience many kids today don't naturally develop. It was written by Will Curtis. Kids in the 60s and 70s had more time and space, and they ended up leveraging them to build mental resilience. As emerging adults, they helped craft a changing world. An entire generation watched the socio-political movement questioned the course of history. Whether events were interpreted as good or bad depended on input from the society immediately around the kids to decide for themselves. Most either chose to resist, picked up their parents' torches, or quietly stayed out of the way. Being under their own guidance left doors of opportunity open. Limited by socially maintained constraints or privileged by entitled pedigrees, the kids of the 60s and 70s had the time and space to explore different options. And according to experts, that combination built a type of resilience that wasn't taught in workshops or rewarded with gold stars. It was earned through learning how to navigate discomfort without an adult stepping in. So experts say kids who grew up in the 60s and 70s learned a version of mental resilience that children today didn't naturally develop. The number one is kids in the 60s and 70s were bored long enough to know themselves. I can't remember being bored when I was a kid. There was always something going on outside. Boredom was a feature of life for kids in the 60s and 70s who had nothing to do for hours at a stretch, recalls therapist Dr. Gloria Brame, Brame, PhD. No iPhones, no computers, no parents hovering while trying to fix every problem for you. We usually had no supervision and no money unless we babysat or took part-time jobs. Newspaper routes was a big thing. I learned how boredom was still better than school. It was an invitation to find stuff that pleased me, not a group of stuffy elders. I could get lost in a book or wander to the school ball field to see if any friends were there. Boredom opened the door to hobbies, needlepoint, and learning chords on the guitar. I tried everything to find what I was best at, and apparently it was counseling my friends. And it's right on the money right there. If you were bored, it's your fault because there was enormous things to do, not just sitting on the phone looking at the screen. Walking in nature, exploring new places, and learning skills with your hands were how people made their way through life in the past. It still feels more organic, authentic, and deliberate than doom scrolling and bed rotting. A more natural life is a better life, and it starts with being willing to be bored long enough to discover what you actually love. Number two, the kids in the 60s and 70s made choices with a sense of agency and independence. Psychologist Dr. Lheen, A-L-I-N-E, P. Zoldbrod, PhD, remembers how parents in the 60s and 70s were way more likely to tell their children, "It's your life, go live it." Yes, absolutely. Whatever you do, it's your decision. You make the choices, you can deal with the consequences. Yes, yes. If it was bad, you knew, you found out. In essence, unless the parents were so neglectful that the child did not feel important at all, the freeing and optimistic message was, whatever you do, it'll turn out all right. So kids felt more like the architects of their own lives, and they developed a sense of agency and independence. Of course, it was still common for kids of the 60s and 70s to make decisions with their parents, but it was the kids' choice. Life wasn't as constricted. Parents had their own lives and weren't joined at the hip to their kids. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was nothing for the parents to leave the house and the kids are still home and the kids know how to take care of themselves back then. Kids were growing up in an era where they hung out in groups that would meet in real life. The groups did some wild things, sometimes transgressive things. Being disobedient together in real life created an embodied sense of connection, freedom, and exuberance. The overt control exerted today astounds many of us who grew up in a different era, but there is a price paid in the young person's anxiety about making their own decisions going forward. This, in combination with so much of life being lived online, may be one of the reasons younger generations feel they lead such padded lives by comparison. Absolutely. I mean, and what I mean by parents leaving is they would go next door and play cards or whatever with the neighbors and stuff like that. You knew where they were at all the time. You could get a hold of them. Even though you didn't have cell phones, it was easier to get a hold of them. Just walk next door, walk down the street to the house. But yeah, I mean, we pretty much made our own decisions. We didn't think, if we made the bad choice, we knew it was going to be a bad. If we the bad choice, we knew what was going to happen. We really understood that, I believe. This day and age, because of the online stuff, the games that they play, the shoot 'em up games and everything like that, they don't understand the consequences. Some of these kids, because they get lost in these games and think that life is a game. We didn't have that. I remember, what was it, in the 70s when Atari come out? Had the Pong, that was it. But, younger than that, we didn't have that stuff. You learned it on your own. Uh, I used to, right when I was 10, 12, 10, 10, 11 years old, I'd ride my bike all the way to the other side of town and back by myself. Just going to see friends at groups, hang out with kids we hung out with and stuff. Going to play baseball at an open baseball field someplace. And it's hard to find an open baseball field anywhere right now. Even houses that are empty and vacant, they don't tear them down, and you could tear those down and have an open field. We used to just find an open field and play football or baseball or whatever we could play. There was always something we could do, always something that somebody in the group would always have a good imagination of something to do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. If you're that era, let me know how your childhood was like that too. Just did what we could do. We had fun doing it, right? Sometimes we hurt ourselves, but we bounce back. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Y'all have a great day, great night, whatever the case may be. We'll see you next time.